my subscribers, and welcome if this is the first time you're seeing one of my pick-a cards. My name is Odessa. I'm the Mystic Intuitive Healer. I'm a psychic medium, Reiki master, spiritual coach, and an intuitive tarot card reader. And through the work I'm doing here on YouTube, as well as my website, odessamall.com, I hope to deliver messages to you that will help you to awaken, heal, align, and grow. I am so excited about today's topic. I've been sort of saving this one for a special occasion, and as the channel grows and we get closer and closer and closer to 1,000, I thought this was the perfect time to do what makes you guys so glamorous. So it's going to be such a fun reading. Many of you know that my previous career was in fashion. I was a designer, so this is really like making me think about the past, and it's going to be so much fun. So before we get into the cards, you guys have to select your pile. I've got 3 piles for you guys to select from. Pile number 1 is partnered with my spell jar. I made this jar. This one helps me to cleanse and purify my home. And then pile number 2 is partnered with my amber candle and brass candle holder. I always have candles lit whenever I'm doing any of my spiritual work. It just helps me to cleanse and purify my home, as well as keep the vibe high. So pile number 3 is partnered with my citrine point. Citrine is typically a yellow color, and yellow is associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is about 2 inches above your belly button. Citrine is also commonly used for manifestation. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a second to select your pile, and I'll see you in a moment. Hi, pile number 1. Okay, so I've got your pile here. I'm just going to put the spell jar off to the side. Let's see what makes you so glamorous. All right, so you got the Great Goddess, Sacred Unity, and this is number 17, which in numerology would reduce down to the number 8. Interesting. And you got the Dragonfly, the Octopus, the bee, and this has the alchemical symbol for air on it. Hummingbird, which has also got the alchemical symbol for air. You got the 4 of Cups. And for this reading, I decided to use these collector cards that I have. They're not oracle cards, but they have pictures from 1940s, 50s, and 60s bee films on them. And there's very glamorous men and women on these cards. And you got the movie Overexposed. With a snap, she can make or break you. So let's see what this movie is about. All right, so the movie is about a girl who basically, it's small town girl makes good, basically. She's living in Louisiana. She leaves her hometown. She moves to California. She becomes a model. She finds fame and fortune. She has a love affair with her photographer. She ends up working at a nightclub. And there's all kinds of intrigue that also takes place in this movie. Wow, interesting. Oh my God. The other tagline for this movie was camera, curves, and no conscience. Oh my God, I love that so much. All right, so obviously you guys have beautiful bodies, and you're most likely very curvy people. You don't have to be, but the reason I say that is obviously the tagline, as well as the Great Goddess card. You see this beautiful feminine silhouette, and she actually is holding almost the same pose as the model in Overexposed, with the arm up. You might have a beautiful bust, but you don't have to be a woman or identify as being a woman. There definitely is a beauty about your body though, for sure. And I definitely get the feeling that you're part of like the body positivity movement is what I'm getting. I'm getting women from these particular cards that are more full figured, have like have boobs and butts, just based on like what is being depicted here. But then with the Four of Cups, I'm getting a more petite energy. And some of you might have really long, beautiful hair and possibly blonde hair or red hair. But I'm equally also getting short cropped styles, more like a pixie cut, more of a like 60s twiggy type energy. And then I'm getting more of like the Veronica Lake, like femme fatale kind of energy from this overexposed card. I definitely feel like you guys are like really fashionable, and that you really know how to dress for your body type. I think that you like accessorizing, and for some of you, you might actually really like to mix patterns and colors, because the Four of Cups card, there's all of these beautiful really detailed patterns. Yeah, you might even actually use elements from your own culture, like your traditional heritage, and then mix it in with your regular everyday clothing, sort of like bringing it forward and making it more everyday versus like a special occasion or like a wedding or some sort of like festival or celebration. You integrate it into your day-to-day, which is really cool, because I'm getting the energy that you're sort of like helping expose people that are outside of your own culture to some of the beauty of your culture. Like this is the energy of a woman who has Indian heritage wearing a sari, like possibly a sari top and like the scarf with a pair of jeans and like a really cool pair of shoes. That kind of energy, like mixing and matching. But you might also like to take clothing from different decades and mix it together and make it look fresh and new. Like I'm getting goosebumps from that. So there's definitely some of you out there, and I know that there are some viewers out there that love vintage as much as I do. So this is definitely a message that's calling out for you guys. And there's an energy here where you're sort of like co-creating with your spirit guides. You might not realize it, but I think that you're very creative people. Some of you might be working in fashion or be models or actresses or actors, you know, especially with like the storyline of this overexposed movie. But I feel like you get a lot of creative ideas about fashion and glamour and things that are maybe a little bit outside of the box, and it's just like a lightning flash. Like it'll just come to you and you're like, yes, I should try that. And you might not have even been thinking about, you know, fashion or makeup or clothing at the time, and it's all of a sudden you just get this like lightning bolt of inspiration where you're like, oh, I should really pair those pants with that jacket. And that might not resonate for all of you, but I think that there's quite a few of you out there that have had experiences like that. And it's coming from spirit, because you've got 4 birds on this card, then the hummingbird, the bee, and the dragonfly, which would all be symbols, and the alchemical symbol for air, would all be talking about looking at things from a higher perspective and also being able to connect with spirit. So you might also be the type of person that can really sort of like work out an outfit in their mind and like be able to accessorize it or add just that one little finishing touch that just takes it to the next level. You know, like just knowing exactly what that one finishing detail will be, or, you know, like just like being able to add a pop of color or interest, or like bring in, like you might be the type of person that can make an all like monochromatic outfit look really, really amazing because you know how to like mix different shades of the same color together and bring in different textures so it all works together and it looks like really effortless and chic. That's the energy I'm getting. Like, you really understand color, because there is a rainbow here, and then the hummingbird also has this rainbow, and this white globe, as well as the white behind the bee again, and with the great goddess again, really is making me think this is channeled messages coming from spirit. And honestly, when I was working in fashion, I didn't necessarily realize that this is what was happening. It's hindsight is 2020, but I would just get bolts of inspiration about designs. Like, I might actually like dream about a pair of shoes that I was going to design, and I'd wake up, and obviously now I recognize that those were all channeled messages. But at the time, I wasn't necessarily thinking that my spirit guides were trying to help me design fashion, you know? Like, I just didn't think of, I didn't have the same spiritual understanding about creation and fashion and beauty that I have now. You know, the universe all around us is constantly creating abundance and beauty, right? Nature is like the epitome of being a designer, right? Color and fashion, changing the changing seasons, changing wardrobes, right? You know, Mother Nature is a fashionista. And it's incredible now how I see that, and how important us indulging in that beauty really is for our own spiritual health. So never feel like to be spiritually connected, you have to have less or be less. You know, some people's journey is to sort of be a minimalist or divorce themselves from the material world, but that's not everyone. And so if you're a more is more kind of person, don't ever think that, you know, there's something spiritually wrong with that. Indulge in it. Allow yourself to find pleasure in that, you know? Like, as long as your heart is in the right place and you're doing it because it fills your cup and not because you're trying to like meet some beauty standard that is outside of yourself, then there's nothing wrong with that at all. And plus, you're bringing gifts and skills that you have from past lives into this life, right? Because I was talking about the number 8, number 17, and then it reducing down to the number 8, which is talking about the never-ending cycles of life, reincarnation, basically. So there's a good chance that you've been an artisan in a past life, or you could have been like you could have possibly been a person of means, like you could have been in a wealthy family or been a part of the royal family, been at court somewhere, you know, like, and that can resonate in a lot of different ways. Like, the energy I'm getting from many of you is that you were around beautiful things, you know, that you were exposed to beautiful art, and you might have had a history, you know, where you had a past life in China, and that might resonate with you. Like, I'm getting massive goosebumps. I know you guys can never see it, but it's like the goosebumps are so huge on my arms, and when I get that, it's an indication from my guides that I should accentuate that point, that it's important. Now, with the octopus again indicates to me that you're really you're a chameleon, right? Because an octopus can not only change its shape, you know, so that could actually be like, you just really know how to dress your body type, so you understand how to play with seaming and tailoring and coloring and patterning and layering to make your body shape change and morph, right? It's all a trick of the eye. But likely you also understand how to mix together different patterns and textures, right? Because an octopus can also change the texture of its skin or the color of its skin so that it camouflages better with its surroundings so that it can be a more effective hunter. So that is interesting too, because I think that you probably really have an eye for things. Like, I really think that for many of you, you might like to find unique and special pieces. I think that your wardrobe, and maybe clothes isn't your thing, maybe shoes is your thing, or maybe jewelry is your thing, or maybe it has nothing to do with the way you look. Maybe you express your glamour in your home, you know, like, or you have a beautiful car. Like, there is something in your life that is aesthetic that you love, and you are not only an expert at it, but you have like this sixth sense. It's like I was seeing a radar in my mind, and this used to happen to me too. Like, I would start manifesting like some vintage piece that I wanted. Like, I really wanted to have a particular leather jacket from a particular, you know, from the 1960s, and I knew exactly which one I wanted, but I didn't want to buy it, you know, from a vintage retailer where they're going to charge me like $600. I wanted to find it, as I like to call it, in the wild. So that meant either at a thrift store or like a flea market, or, you know, someone gifting it to me, like just giving it to me, something like that. I wanted to find it in the wild. And there would be days where I would be at work and all of a sudden, like, the radar would go off in my mind, and I would know I have to go to this particular thrift store on this, you know, street, or I have to, you know, stop at this other shop on my way home. And sure enough, I'd go in there and there would be the exact jacket or the exact purse or whatever I was looking for. I think that you get the same kind of like hits, if you will, right? Like, you have a knack for finding those things that you're looking for. Or you might also be a person that really knows how to like update their wardrobe so that it always looks fresh and it always looks on trend. I definitely get the feeling though that you are like an early adopter. Like, I get the energy of somebody who likes to play with their hair, likes to change their aesthetic a lot too. I don't think that you have just one look. I think like it's changing all the time. You know, you might be into really avant-garde, like oversized clothing for a season, and then you end up getting really interested in like bodycon and like playing with color blocking, or, you know, like you're changing all the time. And I think you've been this way your entire life, because my guides are showing me my own aesthetics as it's changed over the years. And I think that you know how to hold your body too. Like, you might have like a strong social media presence. Like, you might have like a strong Instagram following is what I'm getting. Like, I'm getting outfit of the day kind of energy. And I think you really know how to, like, you know, tuck and pin and like suck and hold and, you know, all of the things that you need to do to like get that perfect picture. Like, I think that you know how to use like, you know, body taping so that if you have big boobs, you can wear a backless dress, that kind of thing. Like, you know, all the tricks of the trade is the energy that I'm getting. You really know how to do all of that stuff. So, wow, amazing, so glamorous, so glamorous. I just really get the energy too of somebody who has fun with their fashion and also is going to be like really pushing the envelope for, you know, their entire life. You know, like, I'm seeing images of women who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, who are wearing fabulous glasses and have like wild colors of hair, and like they look super punk rock, but they, you know, are in their 70s, which would actually totally make sense because that's, you know, that was their time period. So let's get some more cards and get some more insight into what makes you guys glamorous. Oh yeah. Okay, let me see. What makes pile number 1 so glamorous? Okay, so we lost one card. Just 1 second. All right. Okay. So definitely you guys like accessories. Some of you might like to wear tons and tons of jewelry. Like I really like to stack my jewelry. Like I actually always have to sort of like stop myself and remind myself of that Coco Chanel quote where she said, before you leave the house, always take one thing off. I don't always take one thing off, but I always think about it. Because I'm like a more is more type of person. In this card, this woman has like basically a ring on every finger. She's got this really gorgeous like goddess crown on, and then in her hand is another woman who is wearing like a long dress, and she's got a hat on. Some of you might like to wear hair accessories. Now you might wear hats, but you also might wear like headscarf. You know, you might culturally or as part of your faith, you might cover your hair, but you like really like you don't sacrifice anything, you know, to the rules that you follow for your faith. You are just as stylish as anyone else. You find ways, and I'm getting the energy that for some of you, you might actually be an inspiration to other people. That going back to that outfit of the day. So you might be showing people different ways you can wear a scarf, how you can pin it, how you can possibly even make your own, or how you accessorize it. There's strong energy of head scarves because the Empress here, as well as the Hierophant, both have like scarves or hoods going over their head. Now, like I was saying before, there's also the hat energy because of the 6 of Voices here, as well as the 8 of Materials. She's got this really interesting rose hat on, and as well as the energy of accessories from the 6 of Voices, there's also the Page of Voices, and she's got these cool, wild, big glasses. And there's also that pixie cut I was picking up on. Some of you might like to play with your hair and like wear your hair in a traditional style, but again, like you're taking like traditional hair braiding, that's part of your cultural heritage, and then you're modernizing it. I'm getting that from this 4 of Materials. Some of you really find like some of you might have, again, regulations or certain like guidelines, I should say, that you follow as part of your faith. Like you might be part of the Hasidic community, and there's certain lengths of skirts, and like there's certain regulations there as well. But again, like you work, it's almost like you kind of find it fun to work within those guidelines, you know, like you find ways to get creative and interesting. And, you know, sometimes that can be limiting to some, because obviously the media is portraying like one type of aesthetic. And you are breaking the norms. You are showing a totally different type of beauty. Again, with the headscarf, because I just noticed here, there's these gorgeous women on the bottom of the 5 of Voices here that are also wearing headscarves. And there's also big glasses. Like I'm getting a real like energy of like huge 1970s, even 1980s sunglasses or reading glasses. I think you like to play with your aesthetic, and you just carry yourself in such a like like, you hold your body and you pull these outfits off or these styles off in such a way that it's your confidence and the way that you move that like just projects this energy of glamour, you know? Like, okay, Rihanna is a perfect example. She wears some of the wildest stuff, things that like no one would have ever even conceived. And then all of a sudden she's there at the Met Gala and she's wearing something like completely out of the norm. And like all of a sudden that's the new definition of glamour. You know, like that's the kind of energy I'm getting from you, that you're like channeling this sort of like inner goddess, and you are not afraid to charge ahead. I think that you've also aligned with other people that equally like to be wild and free, like other creative spirits, and you're sort of like all part of the same herd. Like there's all these stampeding horses. You're wild and free, the energy of like wild horses, wild and free, but they're in this herd all charging together. Some of you might have a lot of tattoos, and like some of you might just have a couple of tattoos that are very meaningful to you that you have positioned in certain places and you really highlight those and they're like an extra accessory. But some of you might literally like be like covered in tattoos, like your entire body is tattooed. And the energy I'm getting is that it's like you treat your body like a canvas, and you are also like you've thought about how the placement of the tattoos and what you want it to look like, the way that a fashion designer designs a red carpet gown. Like it's not necessarily independent of each other. You're thinking about they might be independent images, but you're thinking about it as one cohesive piece. You're planning like, 10 years in advance what you're going to get, and you're slowly working and adding to your aesthetic, which is interesting. I love that. Some of you might really like big earrings, and I'm also getting the energy of makeup, like lots of like color and experimentation. Some of you, that might be the thing where you take all the risks. Like you might wear really simple clothing, but it's your makeup that's really, really popping. The other energy that I'm getting from this is that for some of you, you are again breaking the norm and you are changing our definition of glamour. The Knight of Inspirations. This particular horse always makes me think of variations in skin pigmentation, like vitiligo or lots of freckles. Like, whereas in the past, maybe you would cover up all of your freckles, or you'd cover up the variation of your skin pigmentation. Now you actually accentuate it. Now you play into it, whether that's wearing no foundation or lighter foundation or two different tones of foundation. Oh my God, I've been looking at like these goddesses, oh my God, on Pinterest that have vitiligo that are using two different tones of foundation to like really accentuate the differences in their skin. Oh my God, they look like these like birds of paradise. Like they're so gorgeous. And that also makes me think, these cards make me think of that as well, because the bee with the stripes, it's two different colors of tone. The hummingbird as well, like there's something to do with that. And it could be your own physicality, like it's something that you were born with. It could be something that's applied, like the tattoos that I was talking about. All right, so I'm gonna get a couple of final cards that'll tell me a little bit more about what makes you guys so glamorous. Like, you're so glamorous. You're so glamorous. I would like love to meet you. Like, I just get the energy. Oh my God. It's like you walk into a room. My guides just said to me that it's like the constellations. It's like when you walk into a room, everyone there starts circulating around you. You know, like the planets are circulating around the sun. Like that is glamour. That is so incredible. I love that. And you're constantly evolving. Like there's so many images here of roses coming into bloom. Roses, roses. There's a flower here coming into bloom. Another flower here coming into bloom. There's flowers here coming into bloom. There's flowers here coming into bloom. Like, and I think that you just like completely catch people off guard, because my guide, I just looked here at the firework that's going off, and my guide said to me, big bang. It's like, again, with that energy of like, you walk into a room and it's like, bam, now I'm here. You know, like going back to this overexposed, like it talked about how, you know, with a snap, she can make or break you. It's just like all the power is in the palm of your hand. All right, so let me get one or two final cards. Okay, let's see. Amazing. All right, so you got the first card you got is a fair. And so everyone's in love with you. Not only do they love your style, they think you're so gorgeous and glamorous, and that you just like, really, you're like a star. Like that's the energy I'm getting too. And I mean, going back to, again, the storyline of this overexposed, models, actresses, you know, people that are on a public stage, even if you're not, you come across like someone who is, you know, like you're the type of energy that people have always thought, whether they tell you this or not, that you could be a star, that you could be famous. Like, honestly, and that's the energy I'm getting here. For sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. And they are so sexually attracted to you. And some of them are even like literally in love with you. Like, and I don't think that they're telling you. Like, I think you actually, you know, maybe we'll save this for another reading. But I get the energy that you kind of intimidate them to a certain degree, because you're so on point. Like you really like are polished and sophisticated and sexy and glamorous, that they're like, I have no shot with this person at all. I even get the energy that for some of you, you might have actually not dated a lot, like earlier on in life. And it was because, and you might have thought when you were, I'm talking about when you were like a teenager, you might have thought you weren't attractive. The reality is like you were so attractive and so different and so unique that you intimidated people. It was like the exact opposite. I think you know that now though. And then your final card is charity. And what was I talking about? I was saying that you're getting messages from your spirit guides. Here is this woman in this glorious, glamorous gown with angels sort of reaching out to her. They're giving you inspiration, charity, secondhand, upcycling, working with what you have in your closet, like changing and adapting it. And then you're getting those ideas from spirit. Oh my God, we are part of the same soul family. Like, you guys, like, I resonate with this like energy so much. Like we could be like best friends. We could totally be best friends. I love it. I love it. I love it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this reading. If you haven't already joined my family, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you guys in the next reading. Like I feel so strongly drawn to you. And if you liked the reading, if it resonated for you, then please like the video. That would be a huge help to me, or you could share it with someone who might be interested in this as well. If any of you are interested in having a one-on-one reading with me, you can go to my website, odessamall.com. All of my services and all of my booking information, pricing, everything is available there. So I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, pile number 2. Okay, so I've got your candle here. I'm just gonna set it aside, and these cards are gonna tell me what makes you so glamorous. Let's see what you have. You got Bridget, Creative Spark. This is the goddess Bridget, and there is the number 8 on this card. Then you also got the bat. You got the black egg. Interesting. And then you got elk with the alchemical symbol for earth. The lion with the symbol for fire. You also got the 7 of Wands. And as a special addition to this particular reading, I decided to use these cards that I have that have old movie posters on them. They're all 1950s, 60s, even some from the 1940s. These B movie posters that have very glamorous women and men on them. So the card that you guys got is Women's Prison. And this movie is all about a group of showgirls that end up being behind bars. All right, so there's some really interesting energy that I'm getting from this particular movie poster though, as well as the 7 of Wands. I think that you guys are very physical people. I think that you have beautiful bodies. You know how to pose your body. You know how to move your body. And I think that you really know how to use your assets. It's not about like, some of you might be like super, super fit. I can't ignore the fact that this guy has like, he has like an 8-pack. It's not even like a 6-pack. He is ripped. And this woman, she's got this very elongated slit on her dress and she's like striking a pose, which feels very dancer-like to me. So for some of you, you might love to work out and you're like super, super fit. You could be very muscly, very toned, just very athletic, but you could also be, have very long limbs. You might be very tall. You might be dancers. There's a real physicality around you. The other energy that I'm getting from this is that it's not just what's so glamorous about you. It's like you and all of your friends are all gorgeous. It's a whole group of showgirls that are behind bars. So I feel like it's the energy of a whole bunch of people that have stepped into their power. They're totally gorgeous. They know how amazing they are. They know how good they look. They all have sort of different accents. Oh my God. My guys just showed me the Golden Girls. Like you each have sort of your own unique like quirks that you're known for and you all blend perfectly together. It's like this beautiful like group of like goddesses going out together. That's the energy I'm getting, you know, like the Golden Girls. Like you've got Rose who is like got a heart of gold, and you've got Dorothy who is like she's the leader, right? And then Blanche, who's like very sexual. She's very in her her sacral chakra. You know, like there's each one of you and your friends all have like a different thing, but there's a little bit of a badness about you, right? Like they're showgirls. They're like the sex symbols, right? Showgirls are sex symbols. They are on the stage to show their assets, but bad girls have brains. Bad girls in the movies are bad girls because they're able to outsmart the guys that are trying to take advantage of them. You guys know that you're beautiful, and not all of you are women. So, you know, like apply this to your life in a way that makes sense to you. You know what people find attractive about you. And you know that sometimes people will underestimate you and possibly even, I just got the word discriminate. So there could have been issues in the past where maybe you were hypersexualized, where there were things that were done that were at a disadvantage to you because of the way you looked. But it's like you got wise to that, and now you use their attraction towards you sort of as a way of manipulating them or controlling them, or the situation, I should say. Because when I say you manipulate and control people, that sounds so toxic, but that's not what I mean at all. What I mean is that you are able to sort of like you're a leader, right? Like the lion. You have a lot of fiery energy and strength, but you're also grounded in the earth, like the elk also. like a strong leadership energy, able to defend yourself, able to like stand your ground. But you're able to, you know, sort of utilize the sort of like the sexual desires of others to like get what you want, you know? And I don't see that as a negative thing. I don't think that you're hurting anyone. I think that, you know, you're just seeing a way to move forward using the skills that you have. And I think that you have those skills because you've cultivated them like over many, many lifetimes. Like if you're a repeat watcher, you know that I believe in reincarnation, right? So I'm always talking about how we're like taking gifts from past lives and we're bringing them into this life and we're using them. In your case, you're using your like feminine wiles or your sex appeal. I feel like you're a real flirt, you know, like I really think that you like have, you know, how to, you know, just, you know, move your hand in a certain way or like smile a certain way or make eye contact. Look, I do not think that you have any reservations about going up and talking to someone that you are attracted to. You also have a real innocence about you when you do it. Like you're not, you know when to be assertive and aggressive and be that bad girl or boy, but you also know when to be sort of innocent, right? Like Bridget is this energy of creation, right? This is the card Creative Spark. So there's an innocence and a renewal there, but then there's also this bad girl energy as well that I was picking up on before. I think there's a real sense of mystery around you as well with the black egg. Like you don't reveal everything about yourself. You keep some stuff hidden. And you know, I think that for some of you, you also know how to do that with like your aesthetic. So you might, you know, like this, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Like this card where this woman is wearing this gown, right? It's you know, it's strapless, but it's a high cut gown, but it has that long slit and she's showing off her legs, right? You might have, an aesthetic where like you might wear something that's extremely fitted, but it's like long sleeves, long legs, high neck, but it's super, super fitted. So you're showing off your curves. Or you might end up wearing a really, really short skirt or short shorts, but then you wear a super oversized sweater. You know, you're balancing out proportions and you're keeping something to the imagination, you know, like you're not exposing everything. You're using your assets to your advantage and you're really like sparking desire in people is what I'm getting. I think that you also like beautiful jewelry or gems. Like this back card is covered in jewels. So you might like precious stones. Like you might like actually wearing some of you might like costume jewelry for sure. I can't rule that out at all because Bridget is wearing this like gorgeous headpiece, right? And the elk obviously is also sort of signifying like headpieces, and those pieces would typically fall under like the costume jewelry sort of, you know, arena of accessories. But the black egg and the jewels here, this is reminding me of a Fabergé egg, which are extremely detailed, very like ornate and extremely expensive. So I think that you like the finer things in life. I think that you understand about true glamour. And I feel like for many of you, you like designer clothing. You might like not have a lot of money, but you make it look like you do, you know, like you study fashion magazines, you watch, you figure out what the trend is, and you might even know what is coming before it's actually like completely hit like the mainstream. You know, you're an early adopter is what I'm trying to drive at. So you can start to see that like 90s is coming back. So you're like, okay, well now I know what to look for. So you go to like flea markets or like consignment shops, or you raid your parents' closet, like going through your mom's clothes, and you find those pieces, or like, you know, Facebook Marketplace, or like you find ways to get the pieces that you need at a reasonable price, or you're making it yourself, you know, like you make yourself look so freaking expensive. That's the energy I'm getting, like expensive. Like, I cannot stress to you, like the Fabergé egg is definitely talking to me about craftsmanship. Like, you might not want to wear a lot of detail, but like the pieces that you do have, and I'm getting goosebumps, are such high quality. You might be the type of person that's like, okay, I'm not going to buy into the fast fashion and the trends. I'm going to spend $500-$600 on a purse, but it's going to be like a classic purse that's like really great quality that I can like wear and wear and wear and wear and wear, which, you know, I see the value in that, you know, like absolutely. Because honestly, those really high-end labels, like for example, if you were going to buy like a $3,000 purse at Hermes, you can take that purse back at any single point in the history of that purse, even, you know, even if you pass that on to your children, and they will repair that purse. Not only that, if it's within, you know, like a certain period of time, like, you know, within a decade or two of you purchasing it, they could actually send the purse back to the original craftsperson that made that purse and have that person repair the purse. Because typically those people are with a high-end fashion house for decades, maybe their entire lifetimes. Just insider tips. So that's the energy I'm getting, you know? I really, like, I'm getting this strong energy of like a regalness, especially with the lion. You like really have beautiful posture. You really know how to hold yourself. I think that you just have like a majesty about you. Some of you might like to, like I was saying with the gems, like you might have like certain pieces too that are just so glamour, just full on glamour. Like, you know when to turn up the dial is what I'm getting at, you know, because I'm getting the energy here with this Bridget card. She's got some sort of gown on, or some sort of like shawl that's like made of feathers. Like, you know when to turn up the heat. Whereas you might have a very minimalist style the rest of the time, and then all of a sudden it's like you show up at somebody's wedding and it's like, whoa, like, you know, like red carpet ready. Like you get it. You totally get it. You are the epitome of glamour. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so let's get some more cards and find out some more about what makes you guys so glamorous. Like, whether you like men or women, you know, whoever you are sexually attracted to, like, you have a lineup of suitors. And I think that like people in general just find you so sexy. Like, I just keep going back to this showgirls in prison card. Like, you just have a lot of sex appeal. I think that people feel like they have to sort of hold back their lust too, right? Keep it under wraps. And you might have even had that, like, when you're dating someone, like they just can't keep their hands off of you. What makes pile number 2 so glamorous? For some of you, there's like, with that danger energy that I was feeling, there's also something about, like, for some of you, you might like to mix aesthetics, where like you might want, because they're showing me images of Morticia Addams, you know, the Addams family. Like, you might be interested in more of like a witchy gothy aesthetic, but I mean, like, that can be translated in so many different ways. Like, that might just be you're really into vintage clothing, you know, like, you know, Dita Von Teese, I would say, fits in under that umbrella, but it wouldn't necessarily classify her as witchy or gothic, right? That's what I'm getting at. All right. Oh, wow. Some of the cards that came out here are actually mirroring pile number 1. So if any of you felt pulled between the 2 piles, you might want to go back and look at pile number 2. Or sorry, pile number 2, you might want to go back and look at pile number 1. Yeah, so with the death card, for sure. Like that's, like there's all kinds of gothic imagery here. You might like to sort of play with that aesthetic a little bit, you know, like where you sort of take the edge off of the, like, you take the macabre and you make it every day. So it doesn't, because for some people, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, like I'm in for everything. You know, let your freak flag fly. Totally go as far out there as you possibly can. Whatever is in your heart, show yourself that way. You know, be as creative as you possibly can. It makes the world a lot more interesting. But to an outsider, sometimes the critique is that it looks like a costume. I think that you're able to sort of walk that line so effortlessly, where you might actually wear, say, like a sweater that's all macrame or crocheted so that it looks like a spider web, or it looks like a skull, or like it looks like the bones of your like rib cage. But it's the way that you partner it with other things that it doesn't look like Halloween or anything like that. It looks so chic. Like for some of you that will resonate. And for some of you, you might like sort of like bringing in some of the macabre, but in a way that is very in tune with sort of like earth magic is what I want to say. So I'll give you an example. I have a necklace that I love to wear that has a piece of petrified moss inside it. And so when you know the story of it, it's like basically, you know, dead plant life in this necklace, but it looks so clean and chic and gorgeous. It has sort of this like romantic, like woodsy, you know, witchy vibe, but not as like dark, not as like gothic. I hope that makes sense. And you also, with this justice card as well, like there, like, because it's making me think back to the traditional imagery of the scales and the blindfolded woman. You might, again, like to wear sort of like long gowns or things that might be falling into more of like a classic or historical silhouette, right? Long sleeves, long gowns, that kind of thing. There's a lot of fluid motion here in this. I'm unsure if it's fabric. It looks like it's kind of a mix of fabric and flower petals here. You might really like moon imagery as well. You know, you might like to wear jewelry. I'm strongly getting witchy vibes here now. Really, I am. So you might like to wear jewelry that has like the phases of the moon on it, things like that. You also got the Empress, and this card is really standing out to me because of this glorious like coat. She's pulling up this hood. So you might like to wear like a statement piece. Like you might have like a clean aesthetic, but then you're wearing like one bold jacket that's in a bright color. Or you might do that with your hair. She has pink hair. I'm getting the vibe of hair where it's like, and this, some of you might have long hair, but there's quite a few pictures here where the women have like shoulder length or chin length hair. This card, she has hair like, in this card, she has hair like almost styled exactly like mine. Same with this one. This card, she has her hair really short and up, so you might like to wear your hair up a lot. The other energy I'm getting here is that for some of you, you will play with sort of like body modification and And that could be permanent, but it could be just temporary things. Like you might wear temporary tattoos on your face. You might have permanent tattoos on your face, which is gorgeous, which might even be connected to your culture. And I love that. But you also might like wear a temporary septum piercing, or you might actually have a lot of facial piercings. There's a lot of design here on her face, as well as like Bridget has face tattoos, so you might have tattoos on your face, but you might have just sort of temporary things that you do. For some of you, you like to play with like really carving out your face. Like you like to have a really bold, strong eyebrow, really carved out cheekbones. Like the energy here is coming forward with that strong, strong brow. I think that you like to balance things out again though. You got the two of materials. So this card is talking to me about those proportions again I was talking about before. Like you might wear an oversized sweater and like a short skirt, or like wear everything really, really fitted. Like I've seen Kim Kardashian wear that silhouette a lot, where it's like everything is like so fitted to her, but it's like her entire body is covered like from her chin down. And it's just a matter of like allowing just like, it's just the art of the tease, really, you know? And I get that a lot from you, because now I've brought up Kim Kardashian and I brought up Dita. You have a lot of fiery energy and passion, because you got the Knight of Inspirations and there's this firework going off. Then the lion with the alchemical symbol for fire, but this elk card, even though this is earth, there's like a fiery sun here. You just have, and the sun and the Seven of Wands, like you're just passion and fire and energy, and your confidence is just so sexy, but it's the way you project that. Like it's just glamorous. Like the energy I'm getting is, you know, Cher, for example, if we're going to talk about divas, or yeah, like, because I'm getting the energy of like Cher, where she would wear these flamboyant outfits, but she was so like in your face, like, and opinionated and like bold. You know, she wasn't a shrinking violet, that's for sure. And like Aretha Franklin, you know, like just I'm thinking of all the divas now. You have diva energy, total diva energy. And I love it. You're like super in tune with your divine feminine. This is like warrior spirit, divine feminine. I think that you really are like heart-centered. You got the Awakening card, so you're a spiritually enlightened person. Like, you know who you are. That's why you have this confidence and strength. You have let go of baggage, like the old ideas about, you know, things that you felt like you had to live up to, like, oh, you know, like I can't wear that because, you know, I've got a tummy, so I'm not going to wear something that's, you know, exposes my tummy, and you're like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to get clothing that actually fits my real body. Like that's actually, going back to like my history with fashion, and I worked in fashion for 20 years. And I can tell you 100% that there is no standard size system that is at play in the marketplace. Every single brand has their own sizing structure, and it's all mass produced. So the fit for many things, even if you're spending good money, is terrible. And the best way for you to have things that really fit you and are flattering is either to have something tailored or to make it yourself so it's custom fit to your body. It's not you. You know, we've all been in a like being in a place in our life where we try something on and we're like, oh my God, my body's deformed. It's not you, it's the clothing, right? And I think you've gone through periods like that. It might not have been to do with your body. It was something to do with your appearance though. Or how you like, you know, because I'm getting energy too about people with their own gender identities where you're like, you know, feeling like you have to present in one way, you know, like present as, you know, the gender that you were assigned at birth, and you're like, no, that feels totally wrong to me and I don't want to dress like that. And you just let all that go and you're like, I'm going to show the world what makes me feel glamorous. And you are rocking it. You're like really, really, really like standing out. Like this is like I said, this is diva energy. Like I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And once again, it's like there's a crew of you. Like with this 5 of inspirations, there's like 5 different women on this card. And it doesn't mean that you're a woman or you identify as a woman. That's just who is on this card. And then going back to that, the showgirls, it's like, there's a whole group of you that all are slightly different. Now they're showing me the Spice Girls. It's like, yes, it's that kind of energy where it's like each Spice Girl was amazing and had her own thing going on. You know, you're like superheroes. And like, I think that you come into, now they're saying Coyote Ugly. It's like, I get the point. Coyote Ugly, if you guys don't know that movie, it's like way back. I think it's in the 90s, maybe the early aughts. I'm pretty sure it was in the 90s though, but it was like a whole bunch of like girls bartending and like doing all of these amazing tricks with like bottles and it was pretty interesting and they were super, super sexy. But the energy was that like they just came in like a tornado. It's like, you know, full on sex appeal. That's totally the energy that I'm getting from you and your friends. So let me get a couple final cards to kind of give me a little bit of final information about what makes you guys so glamorous. What makes pile number 2 so glamorous? You just got the card Riches. Oh my God. Like I said, you look expensive. You look expensive. And it's like you are able to, you look like a star. There's a star on this. You are able to transform things. So like this is the energy of, oh my God. And like I was saying that you got the Justice card and here you got the Choice card, which has that figure on it with justice, you know, that is incredible. So you make the right choices for you and your body type and your aesthetic, and you really allow your own light to shine through. You've blossomed and grown. You've taken the shackles off so that you are showing yourself authentically. And you're a little bit different, and some of you, like I said, have this witchy vibe. Others of you have like a really clean aesthetic. Some of you really like, you know, designer stuff. Some of you make things that are not designer, look like designer things. Some of you, I'm also getting the energy that for some of you, you're taking some of your like cultural traditions, like I was saying with like possibly facial tattoos or like body modification or things like that, and you're including that into your aesthetic so that you're modernizing it, and that is amazing. And you I think also have the energy here where you're able to like take something and you're constantly reinventing it and morphing it. So this could be a situation where like you buy a dress and it's like a maxi dress, and then you're like, you wear it for a couple of seasons, or you might have it for a really long time, right? You might have it 10, 15 years, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll hem it, and you just like reinvent it. You turn it into something totally different. That's the energy I'm getting from the Alpha and Omega that's on this card. because it's number 10 as well, which is talking about the beginning and the end. So that's cycles, which is also like death. Like you reinvent things. And then you got the optimism card. So I think you also a person that helps liberate other people and make them feel like, you know what, I don't have to follow the standards. And you've done that shift and change within yourself, because this is card number 9 and then this is card number 10. So that's talking about a progression. Yeah, you get people feeling good about who they are. And even though I think that you can be sort of a femme fatale, or you can be sort of a whirlwind and a powerhouse and be opinionated and a strong leader, you are not nasty in any way about this. Like, you're the type of person that, like, you know your strength, you know your power, you're the empress. But to truly be the empress, you have to be able to allow all the other beautiful people to stand up and be seen too. And I think that's why you've got all of these amazing, gorgeous friends too, right? Like, nobody wants to hang out with someone where they're like, oh, well, I can be the only pretty person in my group of friends. Like, that's so toxic. You're not like that at all. And you help everyone else to sort of like live their best life. Like, I think that you encourage people. Like, the energy I'm getting from you is like, you're the type of person that will go out shopping. Say you're thrifting or something, or you're going out like shopping for vintage designer clothing. And you'll find something that's amazing. It's like a gorgeous, like vintage Versace piece or vintage Gucci. And you're like, you know what? I love it. And the price is amazing. They want me to say the price is amazing. And you're like, I love it, but it would look better on my friend. And you pass it over to them, you know, like, because you know that there's enough for everyone. And like, they do the same thing for you. Like, you're helping each other to, you know, fulfill your creative spark and like shine your light and be like this glamorous diamond, like this gem, this like goddess. Oh my God, I love this energy so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. I hope it resonated. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. I am like in love with the energy that I am connecting with in this reading. I want to like hang out with you guys. I really, really, really do. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. That would be amazing. You could share this with someone who might be interested. And if anyone would like to have a one-on-one reading with me, you can go to my website, odessamall.com. All of my booking information, pricing, and everything is available there. So I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you soon. Take care. Hi, pile number 3. All right, so I've got your citrine. I'm just gonna put it here in my crystal jar. Let's find out what makes you so glamorous. You got Gula, healing. This is number 19, so that would reduce to 10 and then further down to 1. That is really interesting. Okay, so then you also got the Morgan. She is the goddess of death and magic. Okay. That is really, really interesting. Okay, so then you also got the cheetah, the panther, which has the alchemical symbol for fire here. You also got the gazelle, which is the alchemical symbol for fire. I'm gonna move these down here. And then you got 4 of Wands. Interesting. Okay, and then as an additional card, I used this little collector deck of cards that I have that have movie posters from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They're all B films. And they have glamorous people on them, so I thought it would be a fun addition to use in this reading. They're not oracle cards, they're just movie posters. And you got the bad blonde. And it says here, she was not a pickup or a pushover. She was more dangerous than either men. that's really interesting. So you have the bad blonde. Interesting. So there's sort of bad girl energy coming through here, which is clear. I mean, with the Morgan, oh my God. The Morgan would be like Hecate, the triple moon goddess, maiden mother crone. She is a goddess of the in-between. You know, I really would associate her with that because there are stories of her being very, very benevolent, but there are equally stories of her being very malevolent as well. And it really all depends on the lesson that needs to be learned, right? She is working in partnership with the universe, your guides, and your higher self to help you to get into alignment with a particular lesson or energy, right? So the energy of this is that, you know, I think that you're good to those that are good to you, and you're bad to those that are bad to you. And sometimes you're bad to those that are good to you, but only if they ask for it. You know, that's the energy I'm getting with this bad blonde. So some of you might be blondes. I also get the energy that you like your hair is your power, you know, like I'm getting this energy of like, you might wear wigs, like you might like to change your hair a lot, which is really interesting. And I'm also getting the energy that like, there's a lot to do with the head, right? Like, so your hair might be your power. You might like to change your hair a lot. You might like to wear hair accessories with this Four of Wands. There's like beautiful flowers in her hair, and she's wearing like, this is like a traditional Indian bridal outfit. Her hair has like gold threads wrapped around it, and she's got this glorious headpiece on, and then obviously the Morgan also has a headpiece on, and she also has this crescent moon on her forehead. Gula also has a crescent moon, and she's also wearing a headscarf. So you might wear your hair covered. You might also be incorporating elements of your own culture and modernizing it and bringing it forward. I also get the energy for you that you might not modernize it at all. You might just lean totally into your culture, and it's like you are sort of otherworldly, you know? Like I'm getting the energy of just like goddess, like strong goddess. Like you might wear a sari every single day, and you lean completely into your culture. Like there's a lot, your heritage might be Indian, because there are a lot of references here to India with the Four of Wands. But you might also, because like I said before, traditional Indian bridal outfit here. This card here with Gula though, she also has henna or like painting on her hands, which reminds me of henna, which I also associate with Indian culture. So yeah, that's strongly coming forward. Now, for some of you, you might be really into like a witchier aesthetic. That also came out in pile number 2. If you were torn between the two, you might want to go back. I'm not saying you have to. It's only if you were sort of torn. And for some of you, you might be interested in sort of like a pagan, or like your heritage might be associated with the British Isles or Celtic or even like Norse, especially with this blonde hair. That's really, really interesting. And also with the gazelle, because the gazelle, I think of like long limbs, I think of tall. So you might be very tall. You might be very elegant. You might because I'm seeing someone do sort of a model walk in my mind. So you might have like a beautiful way of walking or dancing, or the way that you move your limbs, or I also get the energy of being able to pose Yeah, there's a lot of motion here because with the cheetah as well, I think of movement. So there's something really elegant and glamorous about the way that you move. Yeah, and there's a lot of flowers. So you might like to wear flower prints. You might like to wear flowers aesthetically. But, you know, you might show your glamour through your home. You know, it's not necessarily the way you present yourself. I do think that you're like sort of effortlessly glamorous, but there's something, there's a connection between you and your home. So I feel, oh yeah. Okay, they just showed me Barbie and her dream house. So you fit your aesthetic. So if you're like super into the witchy aesthetic, your home is exactly like that as well. You know, like if you were interested in looking like, you know, like a Victorian lady, and that's your aesthetic, you have a lot of Victorian antiques in your home, or you like lean into that. Like that's just one example. I'm not saying that that's your aesthetic, but like your home matches your fashion aesthetic. I also am getting the energy here that for many of you, like when I was picking up on the flowers, you might also really like a lot of plants. That might be part of your vibe as well. Some of you might really like live in a warm climate, in a warm culture, or you might have like sorry, I said culture. What I meant to say is you might come from a cultural group that is typically part of a warmer climate, and that sort of influences your fashion. So like what I'm saying is like if you're from Jamaica, you probably really like to wear more revealing clothing or things that would be appropriate to wear in a hotter climate. That's what I'm saying. Same with like if your family is from India, you might also lean more into wearing sandals, for example, right? Because like who's gonna wear a hiking boot in India unless you're like hiking somewhere and you like need to? That wouldn't be like an everyday shoe. Maybe that's a stereotype, but I think that's sort of safe to assume that sandals are probably more popular. There is a strong cat-like energy here. Again, going back to you being like very, you might have even had people say to you that you have sort of like a feline way of, like carrying yourself. You might really like the cat eye aesthetic. That makeup wise, you might really like that elongated eye or fox eye. That might be like part of your look, and that is extremely elegant and glamorous. There's definitely something coming forward with the eyes, because like the panther here with the glowing green eyes, you might have a gorgeous color of eyes. You might wear colored contacts, and it's like I actually just got an image of someone who actually color coordinates their colored contacts to their outfit, which, girl, yes, that's awesome. I love that. Very chic. So you might have like strong colorization in your contacts or your eyes. You just might have like stunningly green eyes like in this card, or blue eyes, or gorgeous brown eyes. There's something there for sure. And I feel like for some of you, there's something to do with either your hair color is different colors. Maybe you potentially have gray and you're rocking that, and you're just like leaning into that, and you're letting all your hair go gray. Or you have a streak of gray, like money piece in the front that's gray. Or you might have gorgeous like textured hair, and you're letting your texture, your natural texture just shine through, and like you're letting your hair just be natural. I'm also getting the sense that like for some of you, and this also partnered with one of the other piles, I'm not sure, but for some of you, you might have a variation in skin texture or, texture. That's interesting. I wanted to say pigmentation. So you actually might have had issues with acne in the past, and you felt really insecure about the like scarring or the texturization in your face, but you're like, or you might have just been like brainwashed, like all of us, including myself, to think that skin isn't supposed to have natural texture. And then when you're like trying to do your makeup, you're like, why is my skin like this? It's like, oh, I don't know, like normal skin. We're so brainwashed into thinking that like we shouldn't have pores or anything. You might sort of play up some of your own features, or you might, like I was saying before, have had issues with like scarring on your face or like a mole, something like that, and you like now are leaning into it, you're playing into it. Like, think about Cindy Crawford, 90s supermodel. If she hadn't had that mole on her face, she would have looked like everybody else. You're sort of leaning into that more. Now, like, you get that. You know that. You're like, I'm gonna rock it. And it might have been something that you got sort of pushed into, because oftentimes that's the case, right? We get made fun of something, and then we eventually have to get to a point where we either own it or we're gonna just feel crappy about ourselves forever. You leaned into it, you owned it. Whatever it is that you're interested in, at some point you had to sort of overcome your own fears. It could be like, I'm going back to this Morgan card, like you might have really liked a dark aesthetic, and you're like, oh, but everyone, okay, so my guides sometimes tell me like certain stories. That's why I get sort of disjointed, because I'm trying to talk to you and they're talking to me at the same time, showing me images, because I have clairvoyance. And they just showed me an image of somebody who lives in like the Bible Belt, super religious neighborhood, neighbors, friends, family, and they're really into like goth and paganism. And they were afraid to share that with their family and like sort of live their authentic truth, because they're like gonna get judged and like discriminated against, and eventually they just made the choice that it's like, nope. And like they just walked out of the house with their black lipstick on, rocking it, and eventually people adjusted. There is something about beautiful teeth too. You must have a beautiful smile. This is really standing out to me, these gorgeous white teeth on this panther. You might have gorgeous dark skin too. Like that's strongly coming forward as well. There is definitely something, like I was going back to again, the cat eye or the fox eye. You might like to elongate your eye, like kind of a Sophia Loren look, where you're like adding a little bit in the corners of your eye to make them look longer, because like the gazelle has that like darker line here along the nose, and then same with the cheetah, right? So that's making me think of that. Wow, this is so cool. All right, let's get some more cards and find out a little bit more about what makes you so glamorous. I'm getting the energy that you actually create looks or fashion or aesthetics in your home or whatever with like unusual objects. This will resonate for everyone, but it's like, okay, I'll give you an example. I was watching TikTok and this woman made this breastplate. It was like, it's kind of like a vest that you would wear over a shirt. And hers looked kind of like a rib cage, but she made the whole thing out of a like glue stick, like from a glue gun. She like put fabric and like saran wrap over like a mannequin, and then just used a glue gun to sort of map out, and went over it and over it and over it and over it and over it, and then spray painted it gold, and it looked like this gorgeous like metal breastplate. It looked like it was something that she had commissioned that cost like $6,000, and she said that she did it in like 2 hours on a weekend. I was like, that's the kind of thing I'm getting. Like, you think outside of the box. You might like take something that people wouldn't necessarily wear, and you create like jewelry or hat, or like some, you might make your own shoes. Like, you might be doing stuff like that, or you're doing that stuff for your home, you know, like you're like taking a tiny little step ladder that like, you know, has paint splatters all over it and you're turning it into a plant stand. That kind of energy, like real creative. Like, I think that you also like to blur the lines between beauty and ugliness. I think that you're like, and I love this, I totally agree with you. You're like, anything can be fashionable and anything can look glamorous. It's all about how you put it together. And it's so true. I used to love that about working in fashion too, and I love that about thrifting. Finding something that looks like so ugly because there's a certain association with it, and then finding a way to bring it new life. And you do that as well, you know, like I definitely get the aesthetic for many of you that you really like to wear black, because the 10 of inspirations here, she's wearing this long black dress. And then the 8 of voices here, it's all black. And then there's this band over her eyes. So you might like to wear sunglasses all the time. Who knows, maybe you really like to wear like a dark, smoky eye, or you have some sort of tattoo on your face or something like that. You might really like wearing a lot of black, but mixing up like different textures and different, like, I'm getting like Alexander Wang, that kind of energy where it's like kind of industrial looking, a little bit 90s in a way. Also a little bit with like the Japanese aesthetic, but it's like geometrics as well mixed in. Really, really interesting. I like that a lot. Some of you might have like gorgeous, really long hair. Like this woman here has like black hair. Like, you know, it looks like it's like goes down to her waist and it's like split in the middle, like parted in the middle. But some of you might have really avant-garde haircuts. Like this woman has really, really, really short hair. And then the women below almost look like they have shaved heads. You might have a shaved head. Awesome, 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 awesome. I love that. But you might have like just wild hair where it's like you have it shaved on one side, or you have something shaved into the side of your head. Like this energy is like super experimental. Very experimental. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all if you really like to wear like a lot of like leather pieces as well. Like there's like I'm reminded of like some of the harnesses and belts and stuff that Karl Lagerfeld would wear. That kind of energy, like, and going back to Alexander Wang as well, like layered pieces. Kind of like a mix between the feminine and the masculine, you know, sort of androgynous looking too for some of you. What else is so glamorous about, yeah, I really get the energy of like otherworldly, David Bowie, androgynous, really blurring the line between what is feminine and masculine, playing with that, really enjoying that blend. And I'm like I was saying before, blending between what is beauty and what is ugly. Because what is beautiful to one person is ugly to another as well. So like, who cares? You know, have fun with it. Yeah, okay, so the 2 of voices, and here is again a person wearing all black, and then these figures here have a band over their eyes. So like you might like to wear all black and then your hair is like bright pink, or you wear like wild turquoise sunglasses, but it's like one pop of color, like kind of what I'm doing here, right? Like I'm wearing all black, but I've got neon green nails. That's my like pop of color. That won't resonate for all of you, but I think it's going to resonate for many of you. Then yeah, like strong geometrics and mixing of patterns, right? With this 9 of materials, and it's all black and white with just this pop of pink. For some of you, you really might like natural elements too. Like I could easily see this being somebody who makes jewelry out of seashells, or maybe you're a person that likes to scavenge materials. Like I've seen some really interesting jewelry pieces that are done out of different pieces of bone that have been scavenged and sourced, and no animals were harmed or anything like that. But yeah, taking unusual materials, and also a balance between life and death, kind of on that line. I think that you get some of your ideas sort of in dreams. I think you kind of like surrealism and strangeness. You got the page of materials, which has this like giant hat. I'm getting like Isabella Blow. Like, if you guys don't know these references, these are a lot of like fashion people, icons, designers. Isabella Blow was the person that discovered Alexander McQueen. She worked for Vogue. She was a trailblazer. This is a person that took inspiration from all different cultures, blending and morphing, had fun with fashion. She would wear these wild hats, like really, really, really influential. And that's the energy I'm getting from this. And that is the energy I get from you as well. Like, you might be a person that would wear some sort of wild headpiece, you know, that like really breaks the mold. Like, you might have been a person that could easily have leaned into the idea of wearing a face mask as a fashion accessory way before we had to start thinking about this stuff because of COVID. Like, that kind of energy, just like very like innovative and just ready to experiment, but always with an energy of there still being sex appeal, like, because there's lots of beauty and grace. This isn't ugly. There's always an energy of sophistication and beauty. This is like glamorous. You put it together in a really glamorous way. So let's get some more cards and find out a little bit more about what makes you guys so glamorous. You might like to wear a lot of traditional jewelry pieces too, because right now I'm looking at this Four of Wands, and again, I'm drawn to the jewelry, the traditional Indian bridal jewelry, where she's got armbands and tons of bangles. Okay, let's get, I dropped the card, 1 second. Okay, yeah, you've got a vision. You got the vision card. I think that you've cultivated this look. I think that you've played with things. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you're the type of person that actually enjoys like playing with your aesthetic, like sitting down, like you would have fun opening a bottle of wine, putting together a couple of hors d'oeuvres, and then you just sit in your living room by yourself trying out different makeup techniques or trying on your clothes and partnering things. Like, that's fun for you. And I love that too. Like, I get that completely. You have an appreciation for beauty. You see, like I was saying before, you see the beauty in almost anything. It doesn't mean that you're going to want to wear everything. It's that you can also appreciate the beauty in the way other people style things. And I do think that you get a lot of inspiration from the past. Like, there's a strong energy of historical fashion. And headscarves. Headscarf here, covering, headscarf here, head covering, headscarf here. Even like this wild hat, like, so yeah, there's this strong energy. Some of you might actually really like that vintage aesthetic where you might, you know, like dress like you're from the 1940s because you just love it. And partially, I'll fill you in that most of the time when you feel really drawn to a time period, it's because you did have past life energy. Then I know not all of you believe in past lives, in reincarnation, and I do talk about it a lot, but I see the through line here, you know, like I really do see a through line where you are continuing a creative storyline from lifetime to lifetime. It's all that influence from the past that sort of helps you to be innovative in this life. You got the originality card. Excuse me. And it's like you're building on the past. I get that from this 10 of inspirations, right? Like each one, there's a cow here with a jug on its back. Each one of these is like a past life. And that could be in this life too. It could be like you constantly reinventing yourself. So you had a certain aesthetic when you were in elementary school, and then pieces of that carried into high school, and then pieces of that carried into college or university or your life after high school. And then it's like growing, building blocks, building. So if you don't resonate with the past life energy, it could be a constant evolution in this life, building on what you've already learned. And I think that you like enjoy learning from other people too. I think that you like looking at the past fashion, but like looking at different ways other cultures and communities style pieces, and you take inspiration from that. You're not expropriating from it. You're taking inspiration. Like you're looking at how a particular culture might put together different colors. You know, I keep going back to India. For some reason, I feel like India might be relevant to your cultural heritage, but they play with color a lot, as well as many other cultures. But that's just, I just keep going back to this Four of Wands. And you just sort of learn and you make it your own. You're not interested at all in what everyone else has. You know, you're not driven by your ego either. Like just because somebody compliments you, you take that on and you love that and you're appreciative of all of the praise that you get. But it's not like it gives you a high. You don't get an endorphin rush because somebody likes your outfit, because you only care that you like your outfit. And if other people like it and they are inspired by it and it helps them to live their authentic truth, that's a bonus. That's amazing. You love that. But I don't think that you need it because you're trying to fit in with any particular group. You know, like you're not looking to be part of the ideal. This is the idealism card. You like being original. You like being different. I think that for many of you, you might have careers or at least strong hobbies or talents that fall into like the creative fields where you're actually making something. So for some of you, it might be like you're making your own furniture, you're making your own jewelry, you're doing like crochet, you're doing rug punching, you're like doing bead craft, you're doing something. They could be even flower arranging. I think that your creative expression is a form of escapism for you. I think at times in your life, that's where you sort of, when you weren't fitting in, you could sort of like escape into another world. Like for some of you, you might be really interested in cosplay. You know what I mean? Like you might be really interested in like reenactments is what I'm getting, or like, because I keep getting the Society for Creative Anachronism, and that's like where people sort of learn the traditional crafts so that they can, you know, sort of mirror being part of a medieval community, or like it's reenactment stuff, which would be like along the same kind of lines as cosplay in a way. It's like the, you know, like the grandparents of cosplay, right? But you've used your fashion and your aesthetic or your creative side as sort of escapism from the mundane and the boring, or not fitting in. Yeah, when people were trying to dominate you, this is going back to that like religious vibe I was getting before, where you might have been part of a community where you were being told that you had to look a certain way and you sort of rebelled against that. Some of you found ways to be your own authentic self within the confines of whatever regulations or like guidelines you have to follow for your community or your religion. But others of you rejected that entirely and you just allowed yourself to blossom following your intuition. You got the intuition card, and I think it aligned you with new people. You had the friendship card, and you got the flirtation card. Woo! People, like, once I get the energy that, like, you had like a glow up, like you just stepped forward and all of a sudden people were like doing a double take. They were like, who is this ethereal being? I definitely get the vibe that you like to play with. You're creating fashion that's going to be the fashion of the future. You know, like really, truly, I get that. Because like, there's so many trends I see now that are like mainstream, like nail art, for example, really elaborate nail art where tons of patterns, where I'm seeing people that are part of like a group that I would say would be more of like mainstream fashion, and they're embracing that and doing that. No judgment on that. Everyone has their own aesthetic. I'm cool with all of it. But whereas they might have only been comfortable with like one solid color in the past, they might have only wanted to have like even neutral nails, and now they have like these wild 1970s patterns on their nails. Their clothing might be the same, but they're embracing that. You would have been that person that was like at the leading edge of that. You were like into the nail art and all of that stuff like 10 years, 15 years before people even, when they still thought it was tacky, you know? Or that it was too wild, it was too out there. I could never imagine doing that. Like you might have had like super long nails, like way before that was like kind of the norm, right? Like you just were like breaking, you like that. I think you also in a way kind of like shocking people, and you might have been more interested in that in the past. Like I'm getting the energy of like people that like to wear like, you know, contacts that like maybe give them cat's eyes, like, you know, like they change your pupil, or like even like, you know, blackout contacts where your whole eye is black, that kind of energy, like, and wearing that as part of your everyday aesthetic, or having like facial piercings, or, you know, even like stretching your lip or your earlobes, like I was saying before, like body modification kind of stuff. And I think you've sort of eased into it now where it's like a seamless aesthetic, you know, like you are living your best life. You are a character is what I'm getting. Like you're like out of a movie. You are out of a comic book. That is like, you have it like your home, your everyday look, your friends, all of it seamless, gorgeous, glamour. I love it. Oh my God. You guys are so amazing. Like all three piles were like mind-blowing. I love all of you. If you haven't already joined the family, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I would love to know more about you and do more readings for you. If you liked the reading, if it resonated for you, if you could hit the thumbs up, that would be great. You could share this with somebody who also might be interested in this reading. And if anyone is interested in having a one-on-one reading with me, you can always go to my website, odessaandI.com. All of my services, my pricing, booking information is all available there. So I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you soon. Take care.